because I think 9 times out of 10 they want to be like, yo, like this is cool, like I saw you, I saw your face, like I recognize you, you know. Hi guys, welcome to my first podcast. I had made like a 3 minute little blip before this, but the fan was on. This is how I'm going to improve myself, right? So like I kind of feel like not self-conscious, but I just feel like I didn't like that. And although I may like, post it just for funsies, I feel like at this point I just kind of want to start on this new one. So yes, hello, hi guys, good morning. Um, I can't stop looking at these little like holes because my dad put up the shelf with me. Like he helped me put up the shelf, and where you drill, like the little drill holes are still there. So yeah, they kind of look unaesthetic. Because when I painted my room for the first time, I was very scared if it would like match the version of it that I had in my head from Pinterest and all of that thing. And now I just look at it and I'm like, yeah, like it kind of goes with it, just a little unhinged. But yeah, I think sometimes like my fear with creating content just comes from the fact that I think someone from university will see it and then they'll be like, blah, 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 and then they'll make me feel all not. And it's not even necessarily bad because I think 9 times out of 10 they want to be like, yo, like this is cool, like I saw you, I saw your face, like I recognize you, But I can't help but just kind of feel like, yeah, no, like I don't want this. But yeah, we're doing it. We're doing it to escape the 9 to 5. I'm very happy about that. And honestly, I feel like with computer science, which is the major I'm pursuing, it's not that I'm not passionate about it. It's just number one, it's not really applicable to what you're going to do on the job. So being a software engineer, I've heard from the YouTube that you'll have like a whole bunch of different programming languages that you'll have to learn, but compared to what you're actually learning in the actual computer science degree, like what your classes are on and stuff, I just can't help but feel like that's very, I don't know, it's just very like obsolete in a way, and I'm not really passionate about that. I feel like a lot of my interest in coding and stuff like that was in being able to get like apps on the off the ground or on my phone and like running, and people would be like, oh my god, and I think that now that I'm actually starting to understand what computer science is about more, and I was talking to my friend Ricky about this, like, well, he was mentioning it to a larger group, but I was tuning in, and he was saying like there was this other dude who has like a podcast, has all of these cool boy stuff, and he's a cybersecurity major or some other major, but my like understanding of that conversation was he's going to end up in the same place I'm going to end up as a computer science major, but he doesn't even have to like worry about studying that much. He doesn't even have to go through all of these things. And I was just like, yo, like that's fucking sick, right? Because for me, I think one of my fears was that it was going to be too time consuming, and now that I'm in the process of it, I'm just taking like calculus physics, but I still can't help but feel like it's still very, I don't know, it's just very like obsolete, I feel. And I feel like at a certain point I'm either going to be depressed or I'm just going to be like Mark Zuckerberg, and there's not going to be any in between. So I think that, yeah, because I've tried to learn coding a few times, but it's just so like it's really cool once you start doing it, but the barrier to actually getting myself to get off of like Instagram Reels and go on to the little course that I'm taking, it's so annoying. And I think that now at this point, it's not that I don't want to learn how to code, it's just that I know it's going to take so much it's going to take so much more like effort than just me like, oh, I want to learn how to code, kind of like a little kid. And I think that that's where being an adult comes in, I feel like, and having to be like, no, like I'm going to learn how to code, I'm going to get this 6-figure salary, I'm going to get all of these things that the YouTubers are promoting and promising me and all of these things. And to me, I just can't help but feel like like it's not that I don't like coding. Like I've made a few like little baby projects and they're really cool, and I'm looking at it, I'm like, yeah, I made that, It's just the fact of like computer science is just so like rah. And at first I was like, okay, cool, Pinterest aesthetic, right? Cool, like coding, like like not numbers, well, yeah, numbers, like the zeros and ones. Oh, numbers on the screen, this is that. I kind of feel like I'm Neo, in the Matrix, right? And then now that I'm realizing it, like, yo, Like I'm seeing computer science majors. I'm seeing how they act. I'm seeing their lives. And I just can't help but feel like this is not what I signed up for. And I think a lot of people are in that same boat where it's like you want to, you have this idea of what it's going to be. And then once you get into it, it's like, it's kind of like the whole criminology dilemma that I've heard of, where like you'll go on to CSI or NCIS, either one of them, whichever one is right. And you'll see like, oh my god, it's so cool, like, everything's so dramatic, and where's the music coming from, all this crap. And then once you actually get down to like, this is what criminology is about, it's just like so repulsive. And I can't help but feel like that's kind of how computer science is for me. And I know that it's just the beginning. I know that I haven't even gone into like the woods, so to speak, but I just can't help but feel like it's going to be so downhill. And maybe once I get closer to graduation, and maybe like once I get an internship and I'm actually able to like work on the job, then I'll actually be like, yo, like this is cool, like I love the creative aspect, I love everything about it. It's just the fact of like having to overcome that barrier to entry, that is, this is not what you expected to study, and this is, the course load and all of these things. And I think that to me is literally the cost of entry to sort of like my dream job, so to speak. And I think the whole concept of dream job, right? Oh, I don't dream of labor, all of this stuff. Like, and there was one person I was in class with this past year, so senior year of high school, and she was like, I don't dream of labor, I have a dream lifestyle. And, or I don't have a dream job, I have a dream lifestyle. And I was like, bro, that's so sick, because I was like, dude, I felt the exact same way. And I think that once she articulated that, like for me, everything made sense. And now I was like, okay, maybe, like, obviously you need to focus on job, right? Like job is the, focus, but you don't want to have this like horrible relationship with your day where you're just like waking up and you hate your life. And I think to me, because I was watching this one podcast and they were basically talking about how like in the future, because technology is getting so advanced, and because a lot of, of these like very unimportant, I don't want to be mean, but like jobs that can be replaced by robots, because those jobs are going to be, like robots are going to be in there, um then we're going to have more free time, so we're going to be working on more creative jobs. And I was like, yo, like that sounds like a really cool future, because I think every time I've seen a piece of technology that has to do with like a piece of media that has to do with technology, I can't help but just feel like this is so pessimistic. Like, where is the, super cool flying city at? Where's Astro Boy? And I think as I'm moving more towards it, like towards graduation and towards actually being like a software engineer, I can't help but feel like, yo, like that is so sick. But at the same time, just kind of understanding like, okay, like, just study, just, watch that one YouTuber that all the computer science majors watch, all of these things, like just go through that, and then eventually you'll get like what you want, which is that dream lifestyle, whatever, day in my life working at Google, any of those things. And I think like, because whenever I went to the SHEP National Conference, which if you guys don't know, like SHEP is this club, and the acronym stands for Society of Hispanic Professional Engineers, a little cool thing. And I remember whenever I first heard it, because we all have to, at USF, all the engineering majors, we have to take this big class, and it's called Foundations of Engineering. So whenever I was in that class, it's a big, conference style room. And whenever we had to take that class, I saw them, like I saw a few of them. I didn't know them at the time, but I, later, a few days pass and I meet them, and they're pretty cool, right? But I'm just like, yo, like they're fucking cool. Like I'm just like, that's sick. And then so I go through that process of like, okay, you just got to come to a meeting. That's it. That's the process. And I went to the GBM and I was like, yo, because Bad Bunny was playing, so I was like, bro, like it's kind of like when you're walking into the gates of heaven. That's exactly how I felt. And because of that, I just felt so much more comfortable in this new environment, right? I'm just like, yo, it's fucking huge. Oh my God, Subway, And because of that, it was like, it was nice to kind of have that, level of comfort, I guess, and kind of that sanctuary, if you want to call it that. But yeah, it was really nice. And I think that now, as I'm starting to progress more and more. Oh, wait. I was going to talk about the conference. So the conference was really, really nice because whenever I went, right, I saw all of these professionals and they were really cool because it was like, dude, like not only did they come from similar backgrounds as me, so they were Hispanic, most of them were brown. So whenever I saw them, I just thought like, yo, like this is cool because I never had that, right? Like whenever I was growing up, I never saw like I'm just gonna say it, like I never saw one of us working in STEM, like ever. Maybe I would have, passed by them on the sidewalk or something, but I never was like, yo, like you work as an engineer, right? What is that? Whatever. And then now, whenever I went to that, it was super cool because I just felt so appreciated, right? I just felt so comfortable, and that was a level of comfort that I'm never gonna forget because I think it made me feel like, okay, this is an actual possibility for me, and I never felt from that day on, I never felt like I didn't belong, and I think that's the really cool thing about it. But yeah, in the conference, I think it's one of those things because I feel like a lot of people are very concerned as to like, is this going to bring you, success or whatever? If you hear that in the background, I'm cracking my toe knuckles. Oh, is this going to be like, a return on investment, right? Like, is anything actually going to happen? Or is it just like a multi-level marketing scheme? And I like everybody says it, like what you put in is what you get out. And that made a lot of sense to me. And now that I've actually gone, I see the difference or I see the truth behind that statement from a first-hand experience, because it's not a scam, like I've genuinely saw people get internships and then, it's either real or everyone's just really good at lying. And for me, I think it was really eye-opening because I would always see like these cool computer science videos, and I remember just being like, okay, but like where do I go? Like, is there a website? Like how are you guys like getting into like these cool companies or whatever for internships? And then going there made it like a lot more clear, and it demystified the whole, fog or whatever that was associated with it, at least for me. And it was just really nice. Like I'm really thankful that I went. And honestly, I think that now afterwards, it just makes me so much more motivated for next year, because I kind of feel like a little kid, like on a sports team or something. Like you lose at the championship game, and now you're just like ready. So like you go through all of these like little lesser opponents that are kind of crappy, and you just go and you go and you go and kind of, I don't know what the diagonal, but you go and you go and you go, and I don't know, it just seems so cool. And I think that at this point, I can't help but feel excited for the future, because going on, bro, LinkedIn was so cool. Like I'm not even kidding. LinkedIn is like, it's so funny because everyone is so formal. And I know that they're not being fake, but it's just really interesting to see like the dichotomy of like, this is me on LinkedIn versus this is, me IRL. And I think it's really different because compared to Instagram or something, like, I don't know, maybe this is going to sound kind of like stupid, but Instagram is more real to me. Like, I think LinkedIn is just everyone trying to get a job, but Instagram is kind of like everyone trying to get a girlfriend or a partner. So I think in a lot of ways they're very similar, but I don't know, just LinkedIn's so fun, bro. I was talking to my friend Shri about it. Like, this is gonna sound kind of like weird, but like stalking people on LinkedIn, like going, that sounds super horrible, but like going into their profile and then seeing like, oh my God, you were the captain of the boys soccer team in high school? Like, that is so cool. And just kind of going through like that, bro. So many people have probably seen like, check your profile. Like, dude, it's so funny. But like, I don't know. I just think that becoming an adult is so weird, because I just recently turned 18, like December -7, like 5 months ago, and it was just, I don't know, like I feel like being an adult is the most like not mellow, that cumbersome, that's the word. It's the most cumbersome thing, because it's like, I don't know if I'm using the word correctly, but it's just so bleh. Like, I don't know how to explain it. Like, I expected like my life to change. Like, I expected to like be born again or something, and it's just kind of like, you know, you at 17 just make you a day older, right? And once I realized that, I feel like things got so much more. Although they did, it was like a reality check because nothing really changed. It was also very liberating because now it's just like, okay, I'm gonna just go do what I want to do. Like, I think when I was like under 18, when I was a minor, I felt very like, oh nah, that's for grown-ups or any stupid thing like that. But now it's like, okay, just do it. You want to start a podcast? Just do it. You want to go, talk to that girl? Just do it. Like there is no like, well, I mean, I was still doing that at 17, but like it's just such a freedom. But I think in a lot of ways it can also be kind of like imprisoning. Is that the word? It can kind of be like very restricting because sometimes I think people will see like, oh my god, 5-year old knows how to play Beethoven, and you're just like, and I think like I saw that meme. All right, no, I saw a video essay about it, and I was just thinking like, bro, like, wow, like I guess your age can be used against you, I guess, in a form of like, oh, you're old, what are you doing? And maybe I'm starting to like understand it a little bit because I do kind of feel the vibe of like, it's not that my parents are telling me like when are you gonna move out. It's just like, oh yeah, people who are 18 move out. People go to college. People, move away from their parents, and it's like it's starting to become a more normalized thing. And I feel like when I was 17, like if you moved out at 17, you were either like a juvenile delinquent or you were just extremely successful. And anything apart from that didn't exist. So to me, I think now that I'm 18 and just kind of understanding like, yo, this is your life. Like you can do whatever you want, but you kind of got to be responsible. And I'm just like, like I can't help but just feel like that's it's such a liberating experience, but I can also understand how it's a very restricting experience because now you're like, I don't want to touch that. What if I got to pay for it or anything stupid like that? And I don't know, like I don't know. I just think that school, whenever I was younger, like I feel I don't want to say I feel very old. I feel so old. I'm so old because that's so cliche. I hate it. But now that I am not the age that I was, I think that it was all in my head. And I think in a lot of ways, like I could have always done everything that I wanted to. It was just this idea of like, no, like that person is not you. So just don't, And now I'm just like, bro, what? Because in high school, really in school, just in general, I think it was super easy to just kind of like get good grades and not have to worry about life. Like all I had to worry about was my classes, but now it's like you have to eat. You have to I was gonna say use the bathroom, but like, okay, I've done all of these things, but you have to manage yourself. You have to manage your time. There's the class blocks are different, so now you actually have to, be an adult, and you gotta be. I'm going to go to the library, guys. I'm sorry, I cannot hang out with you and have our cool little aesthetic friend group, but I need to go study and all of this stuff. So now I actually have to grow a pair and talk to them about it. Not talk to them about it. I feel like Alcoholics Anonymous or something, but now I actually have to like set more boundaries if I want to like be successful or whatever I want to do. And that's very scary. That's a very scary thought. And I think at this point, it's not necessarily that I can't do it or I'm not up to the task. It's just that I'm learning that it's not a linear phase. Like there are some days where you could just be like, and then there are other days where you could be like, no, like I need to study. Like I need to make sure my grades are good. And it's just so difficult because I think like there's always that phrase of like YOLO, right? I talk about it like it's some ancient saying or something. But there's always that genuine, understanding of like, yo, like this is my only time in college. Like, what am I going to remember from this time? Am I going to be able to make memories and all of these things? And I just can't help but feel like the urgency to go and like kind of do something silly, just for funsies. And I think like it's not that it has all been in vain, but I feel like there comes a point when a lot of not adults, I don't want to call myself an adult. When a lot of young adults, when a lot of YAs go through this process of like becoming an adult, it's very interesting. And I wish I could like form a case study on myself just to kind of like see, oh my God, the animal is doing, all of these things. But like, it's a process. And I'm very excited to see who I'll be in the future just because I think like once I get through this period of like not knowing what to do, I'm very excited to see like what does, whenever Leo is knows what he's doing, whenever he's not just kind of like relying on this thing he saw from Instagram and it's become very like ingrained in his, sense of motivation and all of these things. Who is he going to be? Who is he going to look like, right? Speaking in third person. And I'm excited. I don't know. And I think there's a lot of fun in that because it's like I can either be a crackhead or I can be a billionaire. And it's honestly my choice or series of choices and series of things that I can't control, whatever. But like in a lot of ways, I feel like I'm starting to come to terms with that reality. And it's, like I said, it's both scary, but it's also liberating. Because I think when I was a kid, being a kid was so upsetting, but it was also really cool because I think like you know how people tell you like, oh, these are the good times, or I wish I was a kid, right? Like I've heard that from so many of my aunts, and it's just kind of like, okay, like you just hear that and you're like, what the fuck, what's gonna happen? Am I gonna like fucking lose my ability to pee or what? And now that I'm like older, yeah, I understand them, but at the same time, it's like, yo, like this is cool. Like I can go to Starbucks and I can go like do things. I think you just need a car for that last one. But in a lot of ways, I feel like being an adult is very confusing, and I don't know why people try to make it seem like it's a linear thing because it's so much responsibility kind of boiled into like, oh, you're 18, and it's just like, okay. And I don't know, I sounded a little bit more scared in that than I intended to sound, but I don't know, I just think like being grown is just a label, like that's all it is. That's, it's just your birth certificate. I was gonna say your birth certificate changes, but it's just like you become like they kind of send you into the wild, go do something. And I think that now it's like, okay, cool. And I'm starting to have to understand like who do I want to be and all of these different things. But yeah, I have this big ass hydro flask right here, and it's so nice because I used to have like the 24-ounce one, and then I got the 32-ounce, and it's so nice, but I just have to pee more intensely. Like I think whenever I had the 24-ounce, I needed to pee, but it was more frequently, and now I don't pee as much, but it has higher intensity, so like I'll need to go way worse. But yeah, but I don't know, nah, because I lost the 24-ounce. I was gonna go on Bulls Connect, which is like our little app that we have to like, I mean, you can really do whatever you want to. You can start a cult if you really wanted to, but you could like find like Lost and Found. They have a little section, and I was just like, yo, like this is so fly. And I never looked. I never even made the effort to open up the app and like, oh my god, because it was already dented. It had like a stain. It was white, so like it was gonna get stained really easily. It was already stained, and I was just like, yeah, I don't want to deal with that. So I got a bigger one, and yeah, pretty cool, pretty cool. If you guys see my little like cool nature wall thingy in the top right, I think, because whenever I go into Premiere Pro, it usually tends to be on the right or whatever, the top right corner of the screen. So that I'm gonna just point at it. I got that from a cool little pottery thing, cool little, I was gonna say restaurant, cool little thrift store antique place. It was basically like a lesser income version of Pinterest. And I thought it was fucking amazing. I was in like fucking, Toys R Us, to be honest with you. And I just saw it and I was like, yeah. And it was a very nice buy. Cause, oh bro, like I think I mentioned this earlier, but like going on Pinterest and like seeing like freaking all of these cool ideas with my room, it's like perpetually being unsatisfied, but being like, yo, like my room is so cool, and then being like, but I think now I've grown to appreciate it. Oh my god, I've started to like journal because like okay, I watched this YouTuber and he said like, bro, you should start journaling. He didn't tell me. He told like the camera or whatever. He was like journaling, and he called it some silly little name. It was like gratuitous journaling, or like gratitude journaling. And it's basically like where you write what you're grateful for and all these things. Because when I was younger, my grandma, she would tell me like, count your blessings, mijo, and I would just be like, okay, grandma, but like, what does that mean? Like, I don't I don't, I don't understand what that means. And now it's like I started to do it, and it's one of those maturing things. Yeah, maturity. um it's one of those maturity things, because now it's like I understand what that meant. I understand like, oh, you need to count your blessings, you need to be thankful. And not like in a, indoctrination religious type of way, but in a form of like, yo, like this is your way of kind of being content with what you have. Because I saw this one post and it was like, lack of gratuity will have you wishing for things that you already have. And I was just like it's I'm at the age where like cringy posts are, the line between cringy and meaningful is starting to blur. So I saw that and I was like, yeah, yeah, save. And it was just so nice. Like it was a very cool post. And now like having done gratitude journaling, I feel much more happier. Like I remember the first time I actually did it and like filled up a whole page, or it was more like 75% of a page, but whatever. I filled up a whole page of like, I'm grateful for this, I'm grateful for that. Bro, I went to bed smiling. And that hasn't happened like ever. I think whenever I won my first Fortnite game that might have happened, but like apart from that, no, like I life's gone kind of downhill from there. But in all seriousness, I think when I started doing that, it was just so cool. I say started, like I continuously do it now. It's been like 3 times I think that I've done it, and yeah, it's honestly really nice. And now I think it's not that I don't need anything, right? Because like I want to be, more successful, more, insert Andrew Tate quote here, but it's like in a lot of ways I realize like I'm thankful. And you separate it from religion, you separate it from any form, of philosophy or anything like that. I'm just really happy. And I think now that I've actually started to pay attention to like my mental health, my physical health, my just well-being in general all around, it has taken less for me to be happier. And I don't have any examples, but I do notice like this is going to sound so weird, but like the derivative of my life is positive. And if you get it, you get it. I'm not trying to sound like a smart, like arrogant person, but the derivative of my life has been really positive. And I think now it's like I don't need anything. I want things, all right? Like, oh my God, cool. Save to board or whatever. And now it's like, okay, cool. But it comes from a place of like, I'm thankful, but I would like that. Like I don't need it, I don't want it per se. I mean, okay, whatever, I do want it, but it's like that would be nice. It's not like I need it, it's just it's just more, it's a little bit calmed down. It's like lo-fi desire, so to speak. But yeah, I think being the past 6 months have been so eventful because like it's kind of funny. Like I don't remember being uncomfortable at college. Like I think like I have one vivid memory of like walking a certain way and being uncomfortable with the way that my shirt fit me. But and like my pants, the whole combination wasn't exactly combining. And but apart from that, like I think everything has overall been good. Like bro, Subway every single day. What is it? I was gonna say Chipotle, but like Moe's, which I think is like Chipotle Junior, or like lo-fi Chipotle. To be honest with you, I think Chipotle just fucking it just pierces through your taste buds. But I think Moe's is just like, hi, do you think we taste good? Like, okay, yeah, whatever, bring it here. But now I feel like just life hasn't been crappy. And I know that that sounds really weird because I've always had like I've always been really like blessed, to be honest with you. But now it's like, dude, like I am currently blessed, and I think like going from that change has been really cool because now it's like I don't need people to tell me like be grateful or anything stupid like that. It's like I'm doing so. Would you like to have a conversation on gratuity? You're right. Like I feel like this professional, and I think now it's like it's not that adults can't tell me anything. It's just that now I kind of take it with a grain of pepper in the form of like this is very small, but it could, end up biting me in the butt. So I think I should listen to what you're saying, write it down in my notes app, and like if the opportunity ever comes up, or like, oh my god, that one person said that, then I'll pull it up. Then it'll be like, all right, whatever. But yeah, do y'all guys like my gaming chair? I get very like self-conscious about it, to be honest with you, because whenever I go to record videos, like if anyone saw my like inside my project kit video, I literally had to go downstairs and get a new chair because I just despised this one popping up in the background. But I was just so eager to like record myself. Now it's like, okay, whatever. Like, yeah, I used to want to be an esports athlete or an e-athlete. Yeah, make fun of me. I could care less. But no, in all seriousness, I think like my time being very into Fortnite, I kind of regret it. And I say kind of because I met so many cool people through it, but it's just so like I can't help but feel like if I were to like have never touched Fortnite, would I be normal? In the form of like I would have probably gotten so much more rest. I would have been so much better off mentally and probably physically as well. But nah, dude, I think like it was a moment in time. It really was a moment in time because I think now I don't feel the need to like play it anymore. And it's so sad saying that statement. Oh my God. Like I'm not gonna cry, but it's just like wow. Like I think that's the first time I've verbalized it and actually said like I don't need to play the game. Even though it's been like a year since I touched it. But I think in a lot of ways, stopping playing Fortnite or because I stopped playing Fortnite, I was just able to dedicate so much time to like my well-being and my mental and my physical. So now it's like it's not that I don't want to play, it's just that I know if I play, I'm gonna lose time for all of these things because I'm just gonna be so addicted to it. I'm just gonna, like crank my edits, or I'm very outdated. Just crank my 90s. Now it's like, okay, cool, whatever. But it's just like I just love being healthy. I love being it's not even happiness that I would say. I'm happy, but like it's not the feeling of happiness that I have. It's more the feeling of contentment. It's serenity, so to speak, because it's like I'm just so calm and like I don't need anything. Nothing is urgent. Right? Like even if a problem happens, I'll still be like, okay, cool. Like let's just try to solve it. Or like if I get a bad grade, like, all right, cool. Bro, oh my God, that happened with my calculus exam. I was gonna make a video on it, but my calculus exam, the very first ones, right? So my first college exam ever, I got a 63 on because I didn't take the time to understand limits. As funny, as silly as that is. And I got the 63 and I was like stressing out. Like I'm over here in my calculator, like 63 plus 100 plus 100. What does that give me? Oh my God, yes. So I just got to ace both of the exams and all of that silly stuff. But now I think like, oh my God. Now I just feel way better, to be honest with you. I think what it was actually going to office hours and then actually going on YouTube and kind of like copying what the people were doing the day before and just kind of hoping I'd retain it. But no, in all seriousness, I think now it's like it's so neat because I understand the formula somewhat. Not because I'm gonna get like a harder class and then that formula is just gonna be obliterated. But in all seriousness, I feel very comfortable with academics because now I realize that I can control it, right? So like if I'm doing if I'm doing bad in a class, like I can go to office hours. If I'm doing bad in a class, I can ask a friend. And I think because that first test I just didn't know nobody and I was so scared to be like, hey bro, what's number 3, Now it's like, all right, cool, whatever. Like making, it's not that making friends is so easy. It's just that I don't care. I'm not as embarrassed of myself. Like I'm more confident to just be like, hey, bro, like what are they gonna do? Like make fun of me? What are they gonna do? Go on their spam and like, blah, 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 that person was so awkward. Like no, bro. Like just chill. Like just chill. Just you don't have to do anything. Like that's what I've found is like to be yourself. It's not so much about doing as much as it is undoing, right? So like you don't gotta say sorry as much. You don't gotta, feel bad as much, right? It's just literally just being. And that's what I love so much about it. It's kind of like some spiritual cool gurus thing. It's like I don't need to do anything except just be a little narcissistic and arrogant. I kind of meant that, like seriously. But I don't know. That brings me into a new thing of like I don't want to be insecure. It's not I don't want to be insecure. I realize that being insecure is just a figment or was just a figment of my imagination. And now I'm starting to realize, okay, just do your thing, bro. Like you don't got to worry about anything. Nobody's going to make fun of you, right? Or they might, but you'll forget about it eventually. And I mean, I still remember when I was made fun of, but whatever. So now it's just kind of like I don't care as much as I used to. And that's a superpower. That's a genuine superpower because now it's not like I need to like do anything. I don't need to be super mysterious, potentially philosophy major or whatever. And I think that there was a part of my life where I wanted to be that guy. I wanted to be like, oh my God, W slash or what is it? Y slash N, I wanted to be them. And now I realize that you don't need to be them. You could just be LEO. And now it's like it's a liberation. I feel like Liberia. Never mind. No, that's a bad allegory. But you know what? Or a bad simile. Oh my God, bro! I had this conversation in my engineering foundations lab class. Like, bro, it uses like or as. It's a simile. I'm just thinking of allegory of the cave because we had it mentioned in one of our classes that we took. Oh, not we, but like me. In one of the classes I took, it was this old guy. He was really cool. Like I thought he was really cool, but he came in and just started talking about like the news. He didn't say like fake news or anything like that, but he was just like, wow, things have changed, and then plays like a John McCain losing speech or whatever from like the election in 2008 between him and Obama. And I was just like, this dude is cool. Like it would be cool to have him as a grandpa. And then he left the next day. We come to class, everyone is just shitting on him like he was so horrible, and I'm just like, bro, like and I have to be like, yeah, he was horrible, and all of these things. But he was cool. I think he was like one of those guest speakers that I remember, at least. Like not remember, of course I do, but I remember with a very fond memory of him because he was just so old. I don't want to say old, wise. He was so wise, and you could tell he lived. I don't want to sound mean, but like you could tell that he went through, not went through something bad, but just like went through his life. And no, bro, because if he looked like really bad, that would be so funny. But no, he was cool. He was very nice, and I think that now it's like I don't need to, have a grandfather figure because he's there. No, I'm just playing. That was very off topic. That was like a saving thing because I didn't know what to say for like 0.5 seconds and I just kind of rolled with it. But no, like I do have a grandfather figure. I have one and he's pretty cool. Very hardworking. So yeah, I think that now I'm going to take a pee break. So peace. Peace.